Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 258 of the Hoots podcast. This year is flying by really fast. It's May 20th, 2021. Hope you guys enjoy your week so far. Weekly destination where we talk about professional wrestling, but we also talk about life and mental health. We are in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Month, and on a podcast today, we're going to dive in a lot of that in our Q&A session. But that's always been a staple of our show since the inception. Me and Adam have always had deep conversations about mental health, and I want this to be a positive escape for you. We do have some real rough and raw conversations that can be emotional at times, but I want you to take something positive from the experiences that I've had or complications from either myself or Brett Carter, and we do this for you and your enjoyment. And of course, we have our rooted comedy segment, the best segment in all professional podcasting.
Worldwide. I'm getting to the point, Josh, where I'm just saying it's not just the best segment in all of wrestling podcasting. It's the best segment in all of podcasting, period. Yeah. Like any podcasting that's ever existed, this is the top segment, the flagship segment right there.
Yeah, Joe Rogan ain't got shit on us because of that segment. I mean, it would be nice to make the money he does for this podcast.
Yeah. And we got to keep the grind, baby. We got to keep the grind. Going to happen. We're going to be having that money.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah. That's it.
That's Brett Carter, aka Derek Stoughton. You can follow him at Twitter at Derek Stoughton. Make sure to check out DerekStoughton.com to enjoy his music work. Also, check out his endeavors at WrestlingRumors.net as well.
Absolutely. Good to be with you. Good to be with you this morning, Josh. Always a pleasure. We're recording this on a Thursday morning, so we're going to get the day off to a good start. Going to talk about a lot of different stuff. We're going to keep things moving forward. It's been quite a week this week in wrestling, and I hope that we stay alive as opposed to dead. And we'll get into that in just a little bit.
This has been a very interesting week for me personally. So I always say that Thursday is my favorite day of the week because it's recorded day, and I use this as therapy, and I need this show more than anything else this week. So I guess before we get started, I just want to mention to Bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. If you could, it would mean a lot to me. I cover around 14 wrestling shows a week. Try my best to get the content out for you guys to check out in case you don't have the time to watch shows like Dark or Elevation or 205 Live and stuff like that. I do it out of my own accord, not only because it's work for me, but it's also something I'm trying to learn. I try to learn something to do with each wrestling show I transcribe, so make sure to check out the website. And as far as this show is concerned, whether it's on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're watching or listening to this show, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And especially if you're an Apple Podcast user, leave us an honest rating. It comes out of 4 or 5 stars. That helps expand the reach of the show. Plus, we want to know what you guys think about the show or any suggestions, if you will.
Yes.
So we're going to kick these off with the Good Brothers Q&A session as we usually do here on the Hoots podcast. You also could ask this question as we're live on YouTube as well. So we'll see how this goes. What we do here in this segment, we take questions from the Good Brothers and Good Sisters. We really don't have fans. I really don't look at it that way. Anybody who takes the time to listen to our shenanigans is a good brother and good sister in my eyes. And so we're very appreciative for those who send out questions, even if it's only 2 or it doesn't matter. If you send out a question, it means a lot to myself and Brother Carter. So we got our usual suspects this week. We got Chris and Nate sending great questions this week. We got Chris on the sports side, but we got more of the personal stuff this week from Nate. And we cover around the scope of the entire world when it comes to this segment. So let's get started. Let's start with Chris. Make sure to follow Chris Zaletta at Twitter at X TeenZaletta24X on Twitter. He starts off saying, "What's up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Did you catch any of the NBA play-in tournament? If so, was it a good idea to have? I am not an avid NBA fan anymore. I've just fallen out of love with the NBA style of, let's hype up this super team, let's join that super team. The first take type of shows, Undisputed, it's really driven my passions away from basketball. So I haven't really kept touch as far as playoffs. I mean, I tried to catch a couple things with the Bulls because they had a new coach this season, but I fell out of love with the NBA. As far as the playing concept, I guess it's fine to try something different, but when the emphasis is still like on LeBron James and his super teams and stuff, I'm like, I really could give two shits. So, Mark Carter, I know you're a basketball fan. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, so a couple things. First, Josh, I was still very sad when the Bulls let go of Fred Hoiberg because that means Poppy on How They Questionable had a very rough day when they got rid of Fred Hoiberg. But because they got Billy Donovan now, don't they? Is now coaching. Yeah. So I think the Bulls are going to Billy Donovan is a good coach. He's had success everywhere he's gone. I think he's going to do just fine in Chicago. With regards to the NBA, I'm much like you, Josh. I'm much more of a college basketball fan. I think that it's way more exciting. I think that the players have they have a lot more to play for because they're playing for the financial health and and also potentially for their school. Also, I mean, March Madness is 3 of the best weeks in sports. Like it's just so exciting when the small guy can take on the big guy and legitimately have a shot and win. I mean, a couple of years ago, a 16 seed knocked off a 1 seed for the first time in history. So that was great. Overall, though, I do watch a little bit more NBA once we get into the playoffs. I did catch the game last night with the Lakers and the Warriors. That was LeBron and AD went 2 for 13 in the first half, and then they came back and won. So, I mean, it was a great game last night, to be fair. But much like with you, Josh, the way that the NBA is structured now, it's so individual player driven. Like, there's what, like 13 guys on a roster. And if you don't have a big 3, you don't have a chance to win a championship. So, Brooklyn had to stack their team. The Lakers had to stack their team. I mean, besides them, you have a couple of small, like, 76ers have Embiid and Simmons and, the Celtics now have Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker. So you need 2 superstars to be able to make your team. Otherwise, you don't have a shot. Yeah. So like gosh, I kind of don't watch the NBA as much, but I did see the game last night and I thought it was very good.
All right. Next question. We're going to go to the football route. He says, how do you feel about Tim Tebow getting another opportunity in the NFL? What do you think about that, Brother Carter?
This one's tough for me because they were just talking about this. Well, they've been talking about this a lot, but I was just happened to catch some coverage this morning. It's tough because, I mean, and no fault to Tim Tebow because he's getting an opportunity. He needs to take it. Like there's no fault of Tim Tebow, but I mean, to me, this just shows kind of the favoritism and elitism that exists in professional sports. And again, I think Tim Tebow, and I think Tim Tebow is a wonderful human being. Clearly, he's very philanthropic. He's very charitable. He's clearly a very good human being. But I think he should either be an analyst or a coach. I mean, I think that that's his route. To me, this is. I worry if Urban Meyer has already lost the locker room because of the decision with Chris Doyle to bring him in and then fired him. And now you're bringing in Tim Tebow, this 35-year-old guy, 35-year-old guy who hasn't played in the NFL in, 6 years and was a backup when he did. And now he's playing tight end as opposed to quarter. Like he wanted to be a quarterback, but now they're trying him out at tight end. It's just like, it's something, it's one of those, if it looks like a rat and it's, if it looks like a rat and it sounds like a rat kind of thing, something is a bit amiss here. So I hope Tim Tebow has success. Obviously we wish him well, but something about this just doesn't seem right.
It's not far off the course for the Khan family to bring people that have ties to something that's on something. Like you watch AEW, they bring in people that are in WCW in the past all the time. I don't know. I just look at it more, not a dig towards Tim Tebow, but like the Jacksonville Jaguars were 1-15 last season. I don't know why they feel like they need more publicity stuff just because Urban Meyer's the coach. even people are skeptical about him being the head coach in the NFL. And now we're going to bring Tim Tebow in. As far as him taking spots from other players on the NFL, that's not my place to say whether that's the case or not. I don't have any personal issue with Tim Tebow. I kind of thought he was dealt a bad hand when he was originally playing quarterback in his first in the NFL. And whether people think he's good or not, I mean, he's a professional athlete for a reason. So
right.
I was just kind of surprised with the amount and the volume of coverage that came out of this because, yeah, I get it. The Jaguars got Trevor Lawrence in the draft. Now I'm supposed to believe that there's some force in the AFC that they need more coverage than they need right now. Like, come on.
Yeah, I will say this though, Josh. Maybe this is a PR move by the Jaguars to take some focus off of Trevor Lawrence to just let him develop and to just because think about it. And they talked about this on various sports shows. When was the last time we talked about Trevor Lawrence in regards to the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, it's been a long time. So they're just quietly letting Trevor develop, kind of not say anything, just kind of do his thing. And then when the season starts, boom, off we go. So who knows?
Hopefully they set up the field and make sure it's nice, firmly planted after football fuckery part 2 comes soon. Okay, next question. Do you like the idea of players outside of quarterbacks wearing single-digit numbers as part of a new rule change in the NFL? I heard about this recently. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, it's a jersey number. I mean, you're gonna recognize a person by their name, not by the jersey number. So I don't know why they felt like they had to make a rule about it, but it doesn't bother me. It's a number.
Yeah, if you want to change rules, get rid of the stupid rule where somebody dives in the end zone, the ball hits the freaking pylon, and that constitutes as a turnover or a touchback for the other team. And it's stupidest rule in the NFL. It's not even close. I mean, of course, if you pass gas or give a high five to a receiver down the field, it's a pass interference.
Remember a few years ago, we couldn't figure out what a tackle was?
Yeah. Can we even tell what defense is without yellow flags flying out? The less Al Riveron, the better.
Great.
All right. Next question. Do you think there's more to Dynamite movie to TBS? Ooh, this one should be interesting.
I hadn't really thought too much about it. I don't know, because I mean it's all under the Turner Network, so it's all under the heading of Turner. So
yeah,
I mean I don't know. Is TBS the flagship network of TNT or of the Turner Network? Or are they all the same? Like, I don't know. So I don't know. I mean, are there more? Because I'm just trying to think. Is the only thing I can think of, Josh, is didn't Turner buy the rights to the NHL not too long ago?
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it. Like they want to air more NHL games on TNT, and then so they needed a place for Dynamite to go. So that would be the only thing I can think of. Is it has something to do with the NHL contract?
Yeah. It's like they made this announcement, like it's the biggest thing ever yesterday, which is nothing new. I mean, it's a promotion. Of course, you're going to try to pump up the news like that. It's not something that bothers me. It's just when you watch their content and the fact that already 2 years in, they're already switching it to another network inside the Turner family kind of tells you something. Yeah, I get it that the NBA and the NHL takes precedent over wrestling, but even then, this is a show that gets thrown in my face on social media every day. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread when it comes to professional wrestling. So if they're pumping out elite content, why are they dropping them on TBS?
Or giving them a fourth show? Like, why does AEW need a fourth show?
I'm gonna give my thoughts on that during this segment later on because that's just ridiculous.
Like, are we gonna go up to 50 matches a week now? Yeah. Like, is that? Okay, sorry. I know.
Yeah, I get it. They're going to get more money because they'll have quarterly specials, I guess they're saying, on TNT throughout the year. But does that really make a fucking difference?
No.
Like the gist of AEW in the first place was that it was a new company and it's rated TV 14. So, of course, everybody's going to be like, oh, we're going to finally get what we want. But are you really getting what you want? You want more of this? What you really want?
The small niche internet fan base is getting what they want. But again, if you want to look at a global, this is why WCW died. Like they catered to a small fan base that cared about ratings and didn't understand how the business is structured.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I can't take Tony Khan seriously on Busted Open when he's not going to be pressed with any questions that are contrary to what's going on. And I get it from a media standpoint. You want access to these performers and companies, stuff like that. You don't want to disrespect them. But it's like when you watch a press conference with Tony Khan after a pay-per-view, it's like everybody's kissing his ass and it's glad-handing. I mean, that's why a lot of the parts of the wrestling media doesn't come with any validity or credibility because there's no, we all can go on soapbox about the WWE from storylines, but they never ask those questions on the quarterly conference calls with Vince McMahon while he's there. They'll ask about the ratings. They'll do that, but they don't grill them like people like the reporters do on social media. I just find that very interesting with the way the coverage is skewed in the entire landscape, but that's just my opinion. That's why I stay in my lane. I don't do reports. I do transcripts. That's what I do.
So you leave that to us morons who try to, report the news.
All right, next question. I like this one. Do you think we are about to get Damian Priest versus Sheamus at SummerSlam? Yes, and yes.
Agreed. I thought that was as soon as he's wrapped up his program, hopefully Domino's Christos, where he's done with Miz and Morrison. No slide to Miz and Morrison, but Damian Priest needs to move on. My first thought was U.S. title. I think that's the match.
Oh, absolutely. And it'd be a barn burner of a match. I mean, I put it out on Twitter the other day, like the Thunderdome, the house that Sheamus built, kids. I don't think Sheamus has had a bad match in the Thunderdome since it started.
And, you bring and from all reports that I'm seeing, fans will be back for SummerSlam. And I think that's the target date for fans to start coming back and then be back, for good. So
let me add a question to that.
Yeah.
Where would Brother Carter like SummerSlam to be this year?
Ooh. I think SummerSlam would be great out on the West. Well, no, you can't do it out on the West Coast just yet. I don't think California is quite ready. So I would say Dallas would be a great place to have it in Jerry World. If they can get that ready before the Cowboys training camp, I think that would be good. Mm-hmm. If California could handle it, I mean, I think LA would be a great place to have it too. Maybe Vegas, because a lot of people come in town. So those are just three destinations that come to mind.
I like to see SummerSlam go to MSG so I can have an excuse to go to New York.
Yeah, I guess it is. It is August. You do need to do it up in the north where it's a little warmer. But now MSG, I think that could be a great kind of. If you could sell out the Garden would sell out for SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
So that could be pretty cool too. I like that.
All right. Next question from Chris. He says, with Will Ospreay having to vacate the IWGP World Title, who would you like to see become a champion next? I found out this news this morning. Will Ospreay suffered a neck injury, and he is having to be forced to relinquish the IWGP World Title, which is very unfortunate because he's been having some killer matches recently. Obviously, I'm the one here that covers New Japan, and looking at that landscape right now, I don't know who you put the title on. I mean, I guess you could go back to Bushi since he was the previous title holder. I mean, my best guess would probably be around Okada or Okada or Naito. Probably going to get their hands back on that title. I would love to see my guy Ishii win his first IWGP World Title, but I doubt they'll ever get him a title shot, which is unfortunate because he's damn good at what he does. But that's interesting. I mean, it's a big loss. I expect it probably be like a crowning type of match or unification type of match at Dominion, which is their SummerSlam, which takes place on June 6th this year, which is pretty cool. They do it in Osaka. I'm pretty sure we'll figure out who's the new champion by then. Maybe Shingo Takagi. But my thoughts are with Will Ospreay. That kind of sucks. I saw that this morning. I'm like, man, that's really unfortunate. And it's been kind of a sucky month for me because I do cover a lot of New Japan shows, and a lot of their shows got canceled this month due to an outbreak of COVID in Japan. No. So my thoughts are with everybody out there in Japan right now. So.
Well, okay. So, Josh, is there any chance, and again, I don't watch a lot of New Japan, so is there any chance that somebody from All Friends Wrestling as a promoter, like whether it's Jericho or Omega, well, I don't know if they give another belt to Omega. I'm just saying, is there any chance that like a Jericho or Moxley or MJF maybe, I don't know. Is there any chance that any one of them comes in and wins the IWGP Heavyweight title?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but also what good business is that? Has Impact moved the needle since Olivier been a world champion?
No, but I'm saying, but for some reason, all of these companies think that AEW is the greatest thing going. So they're all trying to jump on the AEW bandwagon. So we can get our product more promoted if we have our world title on American television. Yeah, how well did that work out for the Impact world title?
Yeah. By the way, why is Tony Khan saying that this is the hottest time in professional wrestling?
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah. What a Nimrod. Next.
he needs to be in the Yawn Club Hall of Fame. Right along there with Seltzer and
yeah. Let's put Alex Marvez in there with his probing questions. Like
Officer Barbrady. Officer Barbrady.
There you go. Officer Barbrady. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, next question. This is the last one for Chris. He says, if we get Drew and Bobby at Hell in a Cell, do you think there'll be an additional stipulation to the match, a la Drew McIntyre has to leave Monday Night Raw if he loses the match?
No, because I think, sadly, and we'll get into this when we talk about Backlash, but sadly, I think that they're going to keep Roman, or they're going to keep McIntyre on Raw. I heard he's going to have a feud with the modern day Maharaja getting into this summer, which I'm thrilled about. Bringing back 3MB. I think that'd be great. Though Mahal wasn't on TV this week, which I wasn't happy about. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. So I don't think that there's going to be a match. I think if they would do that, they might do that with Strowman. Though I've also heard that Strowman's hurt. So I don't know. Or will they keep it going and I think they may give Kofi the match.
All right. I don't think that stipulation is going to be added. I'll tell you this. This is like a way out projection, okay? Yes, I do think Lashley and McIntyre will be in Hell in a Cell, and I think it'll be an awesome match, right? But Shinky, Veer, rip up the cage, and Jinder Mahal costs Drew McIntyre the Hell in a Cell match.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's a great idea. I think it's great. Do you think that they're going to have the WWE Championship match with Kofi next week on Raw?
Most likely, yeah. I know I've been noticing a lot on Raw. They've been trying to add some more title matches to have like some more matches with consequences. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that goes over Twitter's head because they try to find every little thing to nitpick on that show. Not saying that it's great or anything, but fuck, man, why are you watching a show with binoculars on, like trying to be an expector?
Because everyone thinks they're an expert. Everyone thinks they're an expert.
Yeah. Expert my ass. All right. Thanks, Chris, for the awesome questions this week. Mixing it up with sports and wrestling stuff. Now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of our Q&A segment this week.
Great.
Oh, boy. All right. This one, we're going to go to the good brother Nate the Great. You can follow me on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri on Twitter. My thoughts are with him and his Minnesota Twins. And just Minnesota sports in general. But well, in regards to you, good brother. All right. Come on, Twitter. Don't act dumb with me right now. Okay, I got it.
See, more reason, hashtag free the Hoots podcast.
They hate me. I don't get it.
What'd you do, Josh? They must be AEW fans over at Twitter.
Yeah, I think Joe Janela reported one of my guitar covers to like the DMCA because I called him on this shit. He vanity searched my stuff and then
then you did your job, Josh, because if he has nothing better to do with his time, then.
By the way, Hangman Page versus Jelly Nutella next week on Dynamite on the Go Home show. By the way, I found out that Dynamite's going to be live after SmackDown on a Friday. Who thought that was a good idea?
I'm not going to watch. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think our segment next week's just going to be the predictions. But
it won't be the predictions. That's a little spoiler for next week.
Yeah, all right.
All right. First question. How do you approach someone who is hesitant to talk? Nate sent a lot of mental health questions this week, so they're going to vary from in between. But I'm glad I have Brother Carter here because he works in the educational realm where he works with a lot of people and students over his years of musicianship, and also he does other side projects outside of wrestling and stuff too when it comes to a lot of communication. So this is a very good question. So how do you approach somebody that's hesitant to talk? I am prime example of one of those type of people. Go ahead, Brother Carter.
Yeah, I very much believe that you can't really force somebody to have a conversation, because if you're trying to force somebody to have a conversation, they're not going to give an honest answer. So all you can do is just be supportive and just let them know that you're there for them, and just and build up that trust so that when they are ready to talk, then they'll be ready to approach you about that. And like I said, unfortunately, you can't force it out of people because, one, you may damage and burn a bridge and burn a relationship. And two, like I said, you just might not get honest answers. You might just get they'll just say what they want to say to get you off their back. So all you can do, in my opinion, my non-educated, non-doctoral psychological opinion is just let them know that you're supportive, that you care about them, that you're there for them, that you love them, that they're a good brother, a good sister, a good whatever, a good person, whatever pronoun that you want to use, and just be there for them. Let them know that I'm here for you, thinking about you, praying about you, and if you're ever ready to talk, I'm here. And I think that's all you can really do.
Yeah, man, this question is very interesting because I've had someone reach out to me and got into a conversation about why I don't text somebody, right? Something like that. And for me, and from my childhood, the things I've overcome in my life, I've been burned a lot by a lot of people. I've been lied to by family members, and a lot of me feels like inside that I'm very fortunate that I'm not a spiteful, bitter person with the stuff I've gone through in my life. I guess for me, I'm just not wired in the fact that I need sympathy from people. That I just handle my own issues on my own. So for me, I've always been hesitant to talk, which is kind of interesting that I have this show and that I went to broadcasting school, but I have this show. I got this career because it made me whole and gave me another purpose in my life. When I set out a different path for myself when I was in elementary school, in high school. I was a shy, bully kid that hid behind his guitar and playing music. I thought that was my out. I thought that was my escape and what I wanted to do in my life. I wasn't able to afford the music schools and go the music route. So I had to make a change. And that time I was shy. I was hesitant to talk. And I think I don't think what people realize sometimes is that someone could ask you a question, right? They could reach out to you. You'd say something and then they judge you for it. I don't understand that logic. That's not being a friend.
Right.
I think in society we're having a major misunderstanding of the labels that are attached to somebody. For me personally, I don't have relationships with friends. My friends are my friends. There's not a relationship. I can say I love Brother Carter because I trust him as a friend, as a brother. It's totally different from a relationship standpoint. No, not a relationship, but like taking the next step. And I feel like a lot of us are struggling in understanding the concept of what the next level is or what our actual dynamics are with people. When you're reaching out to somebody and saying, why you're not texting me, why you're not doing this, why you're not doing that, I give you the answer, and then you throw it back in my face. That's not being a friend. That's not. I can understand not wanting to get certain answers from somebody. I can understand it for a certain point, but also it's like, don't ask if you already know you're not gonna like what you hear in return. For me, I've always been blunt in my entire life. I hold nothing back because there's nothing with me that I need to hold back. If somebody wants to know how I feel, I'm going to tell them how I feel. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, okay, you wonder why I hide things in. I don't open up because I'm going to be. It's so ridiculous. Like I try to give somebody advice about them deal with the anxiety, and then they threw it back in my face about, oh, you think this is this? And at that point, it's like, fuck you.
Right.
Like, one thing I do not allow in my life is disrespect. I can tolerate disagreements. I could understand where there's something that I need to fix, and I could take constructive criticism and have that type of dialogue. When you're outright disrespecting me and my intelligence and my pride, that's a deal breaker for me. There's only so much you can handle, and I feel like I'll answer it because we got similar questions, so I don't want to drag this out. That's a good one, though, Nate. How do you help someone?
Hey, real quick, I'd say we may have to do 1 week. We may just have to not do wrestling talk and just do a life episode, where we just talk about all the major issues. That could be a fun episode too. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, it could probably be like a side episode.
Yeah, it's a side conversation, sure.
Yeah. All right. Next question. He says, how do you help someone who's had a lot of trauma throughout their life?
Yeah, I think it's just the same thing as before. It's when they're ready, they'll let you know. All you can do is just be there for them. You can't. It's tough too because you want to help and your intentions are really good. And I think that's what a lot of people who are struggling, who just get annoyed, I think they sometimes miss that people that are coming at them with good intentions. But if you're coming at them with those good intentions, it doesn't matter if they're good or not. All that matters is how the person reacts. It's all the time. It's like if somebody makes an insensitive comment or says something that they don't intend to be disrespectful, but it comes off as disrespectful, then you screwed up. You can't be mad at the person for misinterpreting something that you said. That's their right. And you have to immediately say, you know what? If that was insensitive, that's my fault. I apologize. I'll do better. Same thing here. If somebody's been traumatized a lot, you can't, they have to cope with it on their own. And the other thing that we have to understand is that everybody copes with things differently.
Yeah.
Everybody processes, deals with things, comprehends things differently. And that's what makes us human. That's not what makes us robots. If we were robots, we would all process things the same way. But everybody processes things differently. They deal with things in a different way. And that's okay. That's okay. All you can do is just know that, be aware of that, and just be ready to help when that person who has been traumatized, be ready to talk.
Yeah. It's kind of piggyback to what I mentioned earlier, especially the times where you're being vulnerable with somebody and then they say something like that disrespects, let's say I really opened up about something deep, like a deep scar I had, and then the next day you try to question my reasoning behind it, or like I don't know where people come off with that type of bravado or that ego. Like it's odd. It really is. Like I've helped people, and I've met a lot of people in my life that have gone through addiction and have bad family experiences. I fell in love with my last girl that I fell in love with. Had her issues. I'm not gonna mention what it is. I helped her out through that. I didn't do that for a award or a pat on my shoulder. That's just the type of person I am. For my brothers in my life that have dealt with other personal issues at home, I've helped them out for that. I'm a person that I don't feel like I'm above anybody. I'm here to listen to somebody that goes through what they're dealing with, because I want to learn from it. It's stuff that I can avoid too in my life. And trauma is just something you can't just scoff at. Obviously, we do live in a very selfish society these days, but I think empathy is something that's very lacking in this culture. All right, next question. Will depression ever get easy to live with? I'll start off with this one. No, because it's the inevitable that I can't escape. It's something that I know that's just gonna be with me for as long as I'm here. It's not something that defines me, but it's also not something that I'm ashamed of either. You know. I mentioned before on the podcast that I feel like at times I'm my own worst enemy more than anything else, because I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to people. I don't feel like I offer.
You're the man, Josh.
No.
Yeah. You're the man. Don't ever forget that.
I just feel in my life, I feel like I've done a lot of good things to try to do right by people, but also at the same time, I feel like a lot of my feelings, or when I ever try to get myself into a relationship, or I try to keep things whole with my family, I feel like what I want or what I feel inside is invalidated in a lot of ways. I feel like I'm disregarded in a lot of ways. And I know one thing that I have in my life. I have the people in my heart that I trust. I have God and I have myself. That's all I need. I don't need more friends. So, I mentioned earlier, like I've been burned a lot, and it's hard for me to really like give all myself into another person. Mm-hmm. So when I do that, and what I get back in return is flakiness and trying to be labeled a friend and stuff like that. Not that it fractures me, because there's nothing. I've been through so much stuff in my life that I don't know. Like I'm kind of numb to having my heart broken, not just only because of relationships, but with the stuff I've gone through in my life. There's been a large part of my life where I felt like I've been living a lie, and that's never an easy feeling. But it's the truth. I'm just gonna keep it 100. You guys. I thought I've been living a lie for a long time. And I feel like I know in my heart I have people that care about me and do see good things in myself and what I have in store for myself in the future. But whenever I do try to open my heart to another person and get what I feel is missing inside of me, it gets thrown back in my face, or it's this and that. And it's like, I'm just very fortunate that I have myself, and that I can't allow anybody but myself bring myself down, because nobody should ever have that much emotional or mental power over you.
Correct.
That's just my opinion. And yeah, I'll touch a little bit more, but we got more questions for Nate. Oh man. When you are venting, do you prefer a listener or someone who will offer advice?
For me, Josh, I think it just depends on the situation. If sometimes you just need to let it get things off your chest and have somebody lift you up. And sometimes you just need to, ask for advice. So like I'm the type of person, and again, everybody's different. I'm the type of person if I need to get some advice from somebody, I will say, hey, what would you do in this situation?
Right.
So that's me letting somebody know I would like to, I need your advice on this. But I think the best thing you can do to just start is just listen and offer sympathy and be like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, man. I've been there. It sucks, but it is going to get easier. So just hang in there, So I think it depends on the situation. It depends on what you're looking for, honestly. And again, every person's different. So there's no one right answer to any of this, unfortunately. But
no, there's not. I feel like I do a good job with both. Just from my experiences in my interactions with people, I feel like I'm a really good listener when people need to vent about something that's important. For me, I want to offer advice and maybe a different perspective sometimes when it comes to situations. Like we all can learn from things that maybe we're naive to. I'm not excluding myself. I'm not a naive person. I can know when things are not right, but also what sucks about this work hard is like some people try to tell you one thing, but your heart tells you another. For me personally, I don't feel like what's in my heart is invalid. If I could if I say that I'm in love with someone, I'm not going to say it in the thought of having something in return, because that's not love. That's not my intentions behind saying that, and there's so many like philosophies and easy things to say about letting someone go and doing this and doing that and search for this because that's gonna give you what you want, or someone else will come in your life. And that, for me, where I am right now in my head, in my heart, I know that I don't need more friends, and that's not trying to come off in the negative light. I'll interact with people. I'm not saying I don't like interacting with people or trying to better myself along the way, but also I have what I want in my life. I've really taken the next step into the next chapter of my life. I moved out of my parents' house. I'm living on my own. I'm doing a lot of things to try to better myself in the future. I have what I need. And it's like, it's hard to put in words sometimes to think about this, because like I've just been dealing with the rejection thing that I had from Lauren a couple years ago, and it's like I took nearly a full year to remove all emotional or romantic feelings that I had for this girl, and then she comes back and tries to sweet talk and try to remind me about us being friends. And it's like, okay, let me just go off here, okay? And I want you guys to understand where I come from with this, okay? When it comes to a relationship or dating someone, let's call it like that, right? What is it in context? It's the next stage of your friendship. I don't know what doesn't go through this chick's skull where things change because of that. There's no reason, because you're taking the next level of your relationship to another level, that you have to change the dynamics between what you and your friend had in the first place. Like, am I dumb? Am I stupid to believe that? Am I being disillusionized to think that?
No, not at all.
Am I trying to believe something that's not true? Like, to say like to disregard another person's feelings is just so ridiculous when you know what's true is there. I would not said that to this chick if I didn't know it was in my heart. And look, I just find it interesting in a lot of ways because like there's only so much you can take inside when somebody continues to disregard your feelings. And I try to be the good person and try to be the good friend and suppress and try to put the things inside so I can keep a friendship with them or just care about their general well-being. Yet this person reaches out and tells me about what she wants and that her boyfriend is not doing this for her. He's not wanting to commit and doing all this stuff. And I'm sitting there in the back of my head and I'm like, I can do this for you. I had that in the back of my head, but I've been trying to move on. I've been trying to take this advice. I've been trying to convince myself what my heart already tells me is not the case. That hurts. That hurts. I have myself at the end of the day, so it's not life or death for me. But you have to understand, like, I try to be that friend. I try to be that good person. I didn't want to thumb my nose at her because she broke my heart 2 years ago. I could have. I've been more than justified in a lot of occasions to cut this girl out. And I probably should have in a lot of ways, but I think it's the testament of what I feel in my heart and the type of person I am. And it burned me. It burned me. And it's like, anytime I try to offer like advice or just say something nice and genuine during a deep conversation, the other day I got home from work, and it's been a very like rough couple weeks for me, where I haven't been happy working at the tattoo shop. I haven't been happy with myself personally over the last couple weeks, and she texted me saying like, how come you never text me? Why is it that I'm the one that has to reach out? And it's like, you have to understand, like, when you break someone's heart, you have no right or say to dictate how I go about continuing the communication. You don't. I lose all sense of manlyhood and pride and integrity by doing things and letting you dictate what is. I do this out of the kindness of my heart to help you out through your situation with your shit. I've been that friend the entire time I've known you. I want more, and I'm not going to apologize for it. We had a deep conversation. I was talking about how I miss my sister. I've been able to hear from my older sister the last couple months. I've been talking about how work has been stressing me out. I feel like I'm doing too much. Being vulnerable. Before I go to bed, I just say thank you for letting me speak my mind and letting me vent. And then the next day, I'm hit with this fucking, I just want to remind you that I don't want to lead you on, and all this shit. I'm like, what?
At that point, you're an object. You're not a person.
No. And why the fuck are you the only person that thinks that you can dictate what our thing is? You're the only one that has a say in this? Like, you don't reach out to me and saying that your mom asked about me and all this stuff and play this sympathy card. Like, at what point do you have some self-respect? And I'm saying this to myself now because, like, I compromised a lot of myself for this woman, and What has she brought to the table? You know, we talked about this, Red Carter. You know where I stand. I can be totally wrong. If I could be totally wrong with the way I'm handling this situation, I could admit that. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're exactly right. Everything you've said so far has, in my opinion, been exactly correct. You know, you can't have it both ways. You know, you can't say that you're, again, it's at this point, that person is just using her to feel better about herself and then just dismissing you as, you know, not a real person, but just, I'm going to use you to get what I need to feel better about myself. And then I'm going to go carry on about my merry business. But then when my heart gets broken again, I'll crawl back. Oh, I know this person. And when you enable that, essentially what's happening is you're enabling her, you're triggering her, you're connecting the dots in her brain that, oh, whenever I have a problem, I know this person will be there for me. And then we can just move along, you know, and that's by giving into her and by being there for her, that's essentially based on her reaction afterwards. That's essentially what you're telling her, what you're triggering her to think is that this person is just there to be there for me, and then I'll dismiss them when I don't need them anymore.
Right, and like I look at this as like she tells me that I look at this what is like it's something that's not is and try to spin it back on me, and like for me I've never tried to put a label on what my thing with her was. That's the thing that I don't get. Like I've never claimed her as my girlfriend. I never done that. I never said she was mine. I feel like when it comes to those situations, you have to earn that, right? I don't think it's something that you can just assume what is and what isn't. I don't like when you have to tell somebody a gazillion times that you're just friends when that's already established. You're not a friend,
right?
And like mistaking me being vulnerable with you as me trying to say that I want you to change your mind is some ass backward logic that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm vulnerable with you. Yeah, in the back of my head, am I in love with you? Yeah, I'm allowed as a human being to fall in love with someone, even if they're a friend of mine. No, I don't think that I just randomly tell my friends that I'm in love with them. That'll just be stupid and odd. I don't do that with every person that's a girl that's a friend of mine. I know the dynamic of a friend and someone that I'm in love with. It's two totally different things. And I'm not going to sit here and apologize for how I fucking feel in my heart. I'm just not. But also, I'm not going to sit here and have my fucking integrity insulted every time I be vulnerable with someone. Or at least this chick, because she ain't worth it. She's not worth it. I've given too much of myself. Just to sit back and be thrust with labels and stuff that's not true. And stuff I never said. When someone tries to put words in your mouth and try to tell you and try to dictate the terms of your friendship and your relationship, that's why I went back to say it earlier. We are not in a relationship if we're just friends. I don't want to hear that shit. There is no relationship if we're friends.
Right.
Okay? And like you said, man, it's you can't compromise your integrity for stuff like this. It's just ridiculous, man. So all right, let's go to the next one. When you feel like the last priority to everyone, like I do, how would you try to not let it get to you?
Well, that to me, that just comes from, you have to believe that you are worthy, because that attracts people. Like if you have a personality that says like, I am worthy, I'm awesome. And I mean this in not like a bragging way, but like that you believe that you have self-worth, that attracts people, in my opinion. Like, if you think if you're negative Nancy all the time, like, oh, I suck, nobody, like, do you really want to be around that person? Not really. It's just, there's already enough negativity in the world, and that's hard. That's hard for some people that suffer from depression, that suffer from anxiety, that suffer from these things that where they really feel they don't have a lot of self-worth. And I get that. I get that. So there's a lot of great books that can help with this. I think of some things like The Purpose Driven, and these are older books, but like The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, Jump by Steve Harvey. And those are just a couple that just and I'll think of more as we go, because that's what I do. But yeah, I think it's just I think you just have to at some point get out of your comfort zone, because nobody grows inside of their comfort zone. And just it's easy to go, oh, woe is me, I suck, the world's against me, blah 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 blah. And that's fine. And you can do that, and that's fine. Or you can flip the switch and say, fuck that. I'm worthy, I am capable, I am going to go out, I'm going to conquer the world, and I'm going to make something of myself. Because, and I think I've said this on this show before, sometimes if I'm just kind of going over for my day, or I have had whatever, and I'm just sitting in the shower and I'm just like, okay, I got to get going, blah, blah, blah. But the shower feels so nice, blah, 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 blah. But then I also think to myself, well, nobody conquered the world by sitting in their shower. Nobody conquered the world by lying in bed and sleeping till 11 in the morning every day. Unless, of course, that's, you've been work till 4 in the morning. That's a different story. But I'm just saying, like, if you have a normal day and you're in bed by 10, nobody conquers the world by laying in bed. Nobody conquers the world by sitting in front of the television. Nobody conquers the world by sitting in their shower. They conquer the world by getting out and doing it. And that's hard. That's hard work. And you put yourself out there, and sometimes it's not going to go well, and you're going to have bad days, and you're going to blah, 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 blah. I get it. But the great stuff that when you finally have that breakthrough moment and something really great happens, and you're kicking ass and you're taking life and you're grabbing life by the horns and run with it, it's like, man, that's awesome. You think about like LeBron, we were talking about LeBron James earlier, for all of his faults. LeBron James didn't conquer the world by, sitting around. He conquered the world by practicing and by shooting free throws and 3-pointers every day, right? Steve Jobs didn't conquer the world by sitting around in his garage, kind of, he went out and he got after it, right? The greatest people in our world, they got out and they got after it. And that's what you have to do. And that's hard. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to just get out and force yourself to do it. Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And more than this state is that no one, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, no one should ever have that much power over you or how you feel. Like, you are the fucking priority. No one else. I want everybody that's listening to this to understand this, whether you're a male or female. No one has more power over you than yourself and God. That's it. You control your fate. You control what you have in your life. You cannot put that person on, you can't put other people on a pedestal, because that's not guaranteed. There's things that you just are unable to control. Yeah, I just pour my heart out and just explain the stuff I've been dealing with this girl for the last 2 years, where like I tried to learn from that rejection and just try to be the better person and be that friend. But when I'm vulnerable, I had to be reminded of that pain.
Right.
I could have said that like 5 minutes ago and just made it shorter. But when it's real, it just comes out. You just talk. Of
course.
Like, I shared a lot of raw emotional feelings right there.
That's what sometimes we just need to do that,
Yeah. But again, you are the priority, especially if you're working hard towards a goal. No, love is love to a certain extent. That's what I've learned from this experience. We can't have a general understanding that relationships is just an extension of friendship. So I'm going to put all of myself into that, where I have to be reminded of the level where I am in a friendship. Fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that.
Right.
You are a high value person. Start remembering that. Stop putting, like Bret Hart says, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm opening my heart and expressing the pain I've went through and how, like, I'm trying to be a better person and trying to keep some sanity for myself from this experience where I wasn't going to allow it to fully fracture me. Guess what? After that rejection is the best thing that ever happened to me. That rejection is the best thing that ever happened to me. Because here I am right now. I have my own studio. I'm in my own house. I didn't fucking feel sorry for myself. I didn't put myself in a bunker. Never feel like you're the last priority to people, not even with family members. What you have is within you and God. That's the only conscience you have. Mm-hmm. Don't take that for granted because you're not getting what you want from other people.
Right.
Next question. Okay, how about this one? Are antidepressants or pills never a good idea? I'll take this one. No, I don't believe in that. I am straight edge to the core. I don't take pills to temper down anxiety or stuff like that. I don't believe in that. I feel like you have to push yourself through whatever mental issues you're going through because that's the real part of it. Not that you put yourself in that case. I feel like a lot of people do treat mental health with a sense of disrespect and misguidance towards it. They don't feel like it's real or it has any levity to real life issues. And that's not true.
Right.
That's not true. I watched this music video the other day called One Voice. It's by a group called Home Free, and they had a singer named Billy Gilman. It's a very powerful song, but the music video was touching on suicide. It was a very deep video. I watched it, I think, last Sunday. A very emotional song, and they always say the toughest battles are the ones that are not known.
Sure,
and that's very true. Don't go down that road. I've seen people in my life that have been affected by pills.
Adam's talked about
just don't do it.
Adam's talked about that on the show before. Adam Daly.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't do it.
Right.
It's not worth it. Last question for Nate in the Q&A here. But Brock Hart, I want to pay back to what I mentioned a couple minutes ago. Like, you get where I'm coming from.
Sure.
With what I was saying, right? I mean, you can tell me as a brother if I'm
I absolutely I agree with everything you're saying, and you're exactly right. Listen, I'm no expert. I just believe what I believe, and that you just gotta, nobody is handed anything in this life. Nobody is given any handouts. Like, everything you want, you have to go take it.
I mean, for the Lord stuff, though.
Oh, sorry. I agree with you. Sorry, no, 100%. Yeah, sorry. We've been on so many different tangents today. It's hard to. But no, you're right, Josh. And I think that you like you said, you can't let her, and just for anybody, you can't let them, like you said, the second that you let another person dictate the pace of your life, especially somebody that isn't invested in you the way that you're invested in them, you're just gonna go yourself into a spiral, and it's just not gonna be good.
Right. Exactly. Last question for Nate. He says, I have one rule in life at the moment. Don't take things personally. I've been failing my own role a lot recently. I don't know how to change myself. Any advice? I think we all deal with that. I mean, there's stuff that I mentioned here where I try to give advice and stuff that I have to work on still. No one is expecting you to be perfect. I want you to remember that, Nate, okay? You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't make you a hypocrite where you say you're doing one thing and then you do something else. Something may have pulled that out of you.
Right.
We all learn from the mistakes we make. Okay. I don't want you to sit there and feel like this is because, I'm not doing what my motto is. It's just to remind you to keep going. Don't take a step back. Look, I took a step back. with this stuff with Lauren. I took a step back by trying to be a friend to this girl after rejection, but I was lying to myself the entire time. I took a step back. I understood that. I can sit here with straight face and as a grown man and learn from that mistake, okay? My motto has never changed in my life. My motto in my real life is only make moves when your heart's in it. I told this girl I was in love with her because my heart told me that. Not my head, not what I want to believe, what was or what wasn't, what my heart was. You're never going to get all the right answers all the time. You're not going to get all the clarity at once. It takes time. You have to do it on your own accord. That's why we have this life to learn and appreciate the good times and the bad times. If there's times where you feel like you're falling off from what your life motto is, that's just another wake-up call for you to keep on what you're doing. If something comes out of the blue that's challenged your earth, it shouldn't, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Do not allow that to happen to you.
I love it. I think that's great, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I thank Nate and Chris for the awesome questions because
great discussion this morning, Josh. Really great discussion. That's great.
Mm-hmm. As always, if you ever want to send questions for myself and Brother Carr, all you have to do is hit us up at Josh Lopez Media or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Make sure to save that in your contacts, pal.
Yeah.
Yes. No, thank you, Brother Carr, for letting me say what I needed to say. I appreciate that.
Happy to do it. Again, what do we say about the show, Josh, in the intro? What do we say about it in the intro to the Hoots Podcast? We are a podcast that's about life, that just happens to be centered around the world of professional wrestling. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So by doing that, we're keeping true to what we do here on the podcast that Hoots. So
yeah,
it's what we do, man. It's what we do. It's who we are.
All right. Let's get to Backlash, which is the title of our episode.
Indeed.
I told Brett Carter we had 3 bullet points that we were going to hit on our podcast today. We had the Q&A. I knew this one was going to be a lot because it was more personal.
Yeah.
But we have Backlash, and then we're going to get to the main event.
Yes. All right. Oh, okay. Let's get through Backlash. Let's just get through it because I have a feeling that our segment this week is going to be we're going to go off the chains in our main event segment. But
yeah, go ahead. This AEW segment is going to really pick up my spirits this week, which is great. Okay. Backlash. This was just last Sunday. WrestleMania Backlash. Man, I'm still trying to get adjusted to the fact that it's not Michael Cole and Corey Graves calling the SmackDown matches anymore.
Pat McAfee's great though.
He's awesome.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
I like Pat McAfee so much. I try to watch some of his live shows sometimes.
Wow. Dang, that's a good step up. I like that.
By the way, shout out to Pat McAfee, another Pittsburgh born and raised guy. Yeah. Yinzer. Is that what they call themselves? Yinzers?
I have no idea. I've never been to the state of Pennsylvania. I need to go at some point because
never been to Pennsylvania before?
I've never been to Pittsburgh, to Philly, Westchester, none of them. I have never been to the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So we had first match of the show, which I mean, what else there really needs to be said about Charlotte Flair? We started off with the triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. It was Rhea Ripley defending against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. I mentioned on the show last week, nobody lays out better triple threat matches than the WWE.
Right.
From a storytelling standpoint and also a match layout standpoint.
Well, they do them so often. They've got enough practice at them. If we're being real, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we can get into that.
Yeah, you remember they kind of had a similar phase with 6-man tag team matches. No, remember when the Shield and the Wyatt family started? We saw like 6-man tags every week.
Right.
But I think there's nuance to triple threat matches. And obviously, these three have had a lot of experience with each other in the ring, and you can tell by that. But Rhea Ripley did retain. She beat Asuka. We're still up in the air of where we're going to have a singles match with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. I don't know if that's a match that constitutes a Hell in the Cell, but we'll have to see. But we do definitely probably get another one-on-one match with these two. I mentioned this last week. I think the brand split needs to end. I think for both women's divisions, just going to run out of challengers. Like, you just don't want to get to your point where your title feuds are kind of running in scale like the universe mode in the video games, where it's the same people for 3 months, and you know what I mean. Well, you're fighting somebody like 15 times in a 3-month span.
Well. And I don't know how, I know you think the brand split should end, Josh, but I just worry if the brand split's going to end. I think it needs to end in the women's side just because there aren't as enough competitors, but there are so many incredibly talented male competitors. But then you get into the argument, well, then that's not really fair. You know, when you're comparing the men and the women, like it's a very difficult situation to navigate and a lot of pieces to navigate. So, but that's interesting. So I will say this, Josh, about this match. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I thought it was a terrific match. I think all three. I think these right now are the 3 top female superstars in the world. With Charlotte, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley. I think it's and Charlotte and Asuka won too. And I think that I think those two have clearly separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Yeah. I will say this. I think from a total package standpoint, Charlotte obviously is number 1. She's the standard bearer. She's the current greatest women's wrestler of all time. Exactly. However, I think that Asuka is the best female technical wrestler in the world. I think that she is a better wrestler than Charlotte Flair. But I think from an overall package standpoint, Charlotte, and when you're thinking about greatest wrestler in the world, you have to take into account all of it: in-ring, out-ring, promos, look, blah, 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 blah. So I would give overall to Charlotte, but I think Asuka is the best technical female wrestler in the world. What are your thoughts on that?
Overall package, I definitely agree. It's Charlotte. In ring, I kind of disagree with Asuka. This is kind of my plug for my favorite WWE show. It's not Raw, SmackDown. My favorite WWE show is NXT UK, and I'm gonna give that honor to Kaylee Ray, the NXT UK champion. Yes,
interesting. I do like Kaylee Ray. I think she's terrific. How long has her title reign been? It's been
almost over a year or so.
I was going to say, she's had that title for a while.
Yeah, there's not a lot of switching of titles at NXT UK. They do professional wrestling right. Next, speaking of titles, we had the SmackDown Tag Team titles on the line. History was made on Sunday. The first father and son tag team in WWE history became tag team champions. A longer tag match than I expected it was. This match went 18 minutes. The Mysterios are your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Honestly, this was inevitable that this moment was going to happen. My takeaway from the match is that Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler are pros, and I feel like a lot of their work was kind of being underappreciaed. Because it's just 2 random guys who are not in the world tag team, so I'm not going to care about their tag team. So they show you how good a performance they are. I thought Robert Roode especially put out a wrestling clinic from a heel standpoint. I love the match. Obviously, they did the attack backstage during the kickoff show, but having that moment, and then I saw that Aaliyah and Ray's wife, Angie, was watching the match on Watch Along that they do on the YouTube channel for WWE when that moment went down. And you can't get better than that. I mean, that's really cool. I was very fortunate that I got to see Rey Mysterio win the World Heavyweight Championship in person at WrestleMania 22. And that was a really special moment. So to have that with his son to win the title like that, I think it's awesome.
I agree with you. I thought that was one of the, the match itself was fine. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't won any, it's not going to win match of the year or anything like that. But it was a good match. I think that Mysterio, Ziggler, and Roode all were fantastic. I love the Dirty Dogs. I think that they're great. I'm hoping that Ziggler and Roode will each get more singles opportunities, one more singles run before their career is over. But what a moment for, like Dominic Mysterio. Rey Mysterio gets to have that moment with his son. Like, how cool is that? For me, that was one of the coolest moments of the night. So I really enjoyed that. Congratulations to the Mysterios. Very, very, very cool. Also, I will say, Well, I'm curious to see where Dominic Mysterio goes from this because, if you think about it, he's been in the business for less than a year. You can tell he's still very green. And he's never really competed in front of fans. If you think about it, he debuted last year at SummerSlam in the it was the Thunderdome by that point. Yeah. So debuted in the Thunderdome at SummerSlam. So it'll be curious to see. I'm curious to see how he is going to make the transition to working in front of fans, but still very green. But I think he has a lot of potential. So, but congratulations to the Mysterios. It's great.
I had to mention this because I thought this was hilarious. I watched The Bump yesterday. By the way, congratulations to The Bump for celebrating 100 episodes yesterday. Very cool accomplishment. Seth Rollins was on the show yesterday, and he's like, embracing the vision is taking your skills and knowing how good you are, taking it to the next level. He took full credit as a heel for the Mysterios winning the tag team titles. He said, if it wasn't for him, that would have happened. I just thought that was awesome.
I love Seth Rollins. He's great.
Seth Rollins strip too, you guys. All right, let's get to I guess the only thing that people wanted to take away from this pay-per-view the other day. Let's talk some zombies, pal.
Okay, here's my thing, Josh. I'm gonna be honest with you, and you know me. I try, much like on this show, we try very hard to look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Look at why WWE does this. Whenever there's a lot of things that people don't, and most of the time, much like you, I can see the good in it. I can see why they did it. I can see, going against the curve. But Josh, this was freaking stupid. I hated every part of this zombie thing, mostly because of Damian Priest. And Damian Priest, in my opinion, I think he's going to win Money in the Bank. I think Damian Priest is going to be world champion within a year. Like, I am all in on Damian Priest. He had such momentum going forward, and they ruined it with this stupid zombie stuff. Now, again, I get why they did it. For cross-promotional stuff, I think Batista doing the intro to the show was really cool. I thought that was really cool. When he did the Army of the Dead intro to Backlash, I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do this, here's my big thing from this, Josh. Aside the fact that I thought that this was absolutely fucking stupid. I thought this was stupid. I hated every minute.
Part of it was stupid, though. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because here's my thing, Josh. If you're going to do this, do it on a Raw or a SmackDown. Don't do it on a show that people are paying to see. If you're giving it away on television, fine. Like, I get that because you're going to have a bigger audience. You're probably going to have more kids, more casual fans who are tuning in for some cross-promotional stuff. Mm-hmm. Fine. That I have no problems with that at all. Don't do it on a pay-per-view where people are paying to see their perform. Because chances are the people that are paying for this are more invested in the product. They want to see the culminations of these feuds. Like, people were really, like, for me, I was really looking forward to seeing a real lumberjack match with Miz and Damian Priest. I thought that could have been really, really terrific with real lumberjacks, and you get some additional stories. Take what they did on Raw and put that on I think that these matches should have been switched. Do the regular lumberjack match at Backlash, and then, hyping up Army of the Dead, blah, 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 blah. And then if you want to do the zombie thing on Raw, fine. That's fine. I have no problems with that because that's a secondary thing. Like, oh, they're upping it with the zombies. Oh, ha, 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 ha. So I think that they should have, if they're going to do that second. Because to me, it just ruined the credibility of Damian Priest. It was a letdown to this feud that's been building for a long time. Now Miz is hurt too. Like, he tore his ACL. So, like, now who knows when we're going to get that in. So Miz tore his ACL at 40 in a stupid throw-off comedy bullshit zombie match. So, Josh, I hated every bit of this. It just didn't do it for me. I think it shouldn't have been on a pay-per-view. And unfortunately, I was with the majority of the fans here. I hated this.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I was just indifferent to it. I would have done a little something different where you had the lumberjacks at ringside, but whoever loses the match gets thrown into a pile of the zombies like this like an after fact like comedy if you wanted to implement that. That's what I would have done. But it's like my thing is that to say that Damian Priest's credibility is ruined by that is kind of, I think it's a little much to say that because he did not lose the match. A 5-minute throwaway comedy advertising match should not be the only takeaway that somebody has from a pay-per-view. I just think that's stupid. And my thing is, like, what part of this did not make sense? Okay, the concept of having zombies at ringside, yeah, on the periphery could be stupid, but is a lumberjack.
Hold on. There's zombies. How did they not go into the ring? Like, the zombies followed the lumberjack rules. Like, what the hell?
They weren't crawling in the ring. What are you talking about? They were trying
at the end of the match. After the match was over, they went and got the brains. Like, that's not what zombies do.
No, I'm saying during the match, the zombies were trying to go at Mrs. Ankles while the match was going on. I'm not saying it's something that I want or something I need, but like for that to ruin the entire show, like Dave LaGreca having a freaking heart attack about it, I'm busting open, acting like a little baby. I'm sick of that. Like, get over yourself. Yes, of course, it's stupid. It's not necessary. But with all the matches that went on that show on Sunday, that's the only thing you're going to take away from it? That's your only thought on the pay-per-view?
No, that I don't agree with. I thought that's ridiculous. I'm just talking about this segment, not the whole show. I thought the whole show was great, especially we'll get later on to the matches at the end of the show. But I'm just, if we're just talking about this segment, I thought this was dumb. But it didn't ruin the whole show for me.
Yeah. Well, also, we need to stop having the Raw commentators for matches that are going to have odd endings or stuff like this because they don't do that segment any favors either. But let's go to the next one. We got Bayley.
Hold on. One final thing I'll say about that, Josh. When he said thirst trap to Miz, that was hilarious. Like, I love Johnny Drip Drip. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. All right. Bianca Belair retained over Bayley in the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously how you can follow up with that during that scenario is kind of hard. But I thought after doing the transcript, I thought they did a good job, especially Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
But Bianca did retain. She's still your SmackDown Women's Champion. What a finish, which was it the smoothest or whatever? Probably not. But it has a getaway clause to have a rematch, so I understood that point. Right. No, I don't think Bianca Belair and Bayley are going to fight in Hell in a Cell. I do find it interesting that they're doing Hell in a Cell in June. I thought it was going to be Money in the Bank, but they decided to switch up the pay-per-view schedule. Yes, we don't need a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but we're having it, so they switched things up. But I thought the match was fine. I just thought, like, I don't know why they feel like their only getaway to have a feud continues by doing odd-looking roll-ups. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought that this match was okay. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't. It was good. Like, it wasn't, it's not going to be match of the year. I thought it was just this is fine. I will say, though, I think Bayley versus Michael Cole has overtaken Sasha Banks versus Corey Graves as the best feud in WWE. The Bayley-Michael Cole feud is great. I love it. It's the best feud in WWE right now.
Was she trying to smack the McAfee, too?
Yeah. Also, I've got to say, man, props to Bayley. She has been taking this. I know a lot of people were not big on her heel turn, but she has taken this, and she is making something of it. So, props to Bayley for doing great work.
Ding dong. Hello.
Listen, don't be surprised if end of the year she may be in the conversation for Female Superstar of the Year. Like, she really is doing something with this.
Absolutely. All right. Let's talk about my favorite part of the show from Sunday. Triple threat for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley retains over Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. This is the best house fight I've seen in WWE since the Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam in 2017 with Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman. This was just sheer chaos right off the gate. I don't want to say that I'm jaded, but it's hard for me to have like the fan come out of me when I'm transcribing the match. But like the moment like where McIntyre is trying to go for the Claymore and then Braun Strowman picks him up in the air and power bombs him through the announce table. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. This whole match was awesome. This is a fun one to transcribe. I loved it. People need to start putting some respect on Drew McIntyre's name. The guy did a damn Michinoku driver on Braun Strowman. I want to see Olivier do that. Drew McIntyre's the man, but Bobby Lashley did retain. He did get thrown into LED screen, which I'm sure those are not fun. Trips to visit, that's something I would not want to do myself. Right. But I love this match. This was everything I wanted it to be, and then some. I think the right guy retained. And I thought it was a good match. What did you think, Blair?
Yeah, I echo every sentiment. I think it was cool that they pumped in the holy shit crowd noise. I thought that was really cool that they pumped that in. But no, I agree with you, Josh. I loved every bit of it. I thought it was great. The Michinoku driver spot with McIntyre, like that was very impressive. No, I echo all of your sentiments. I have nothing to add. I mean, it was absolutely terrific, and the right guy retained for sure.
Let's talk about the best wrestler in the world, pal.
Side note, it is not an executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling, despite what the internet might think.
Yes. Let's talk about the man that we all should acknowledge. It's acknowledged season 24/7, 365 for the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns retaining, beating Cesaro in a 27-minute barn burner to close out the pay-per-view. We did see some snippets backstage, the continuation of Jimmy Uso not falling for Roman Reigns' bait and not trying to do the same thing that Jey Uso did, which I like the fact that they're going with this route because it's kind of similar to how they finally ended up working with Roman. Like Jey was kind of having the same attitude as Jimmy's been having the last couple of weeks. So the Tribal Chief, man, I'm sorry, Dave Seltzer, but that guy can work. And a great opportunity for Cesaro to have that type of match. Oh, by the way, shout out to B-Rob watching the show right now.
Oh, what's up, B-Rob? How's that honey, B-Rob? Hope it's working for you today.
Oh, I missed that. That's great. He said head of the titty meat. Yes, absolutely. Oh, God. I don't know how you transition out of that, but we're going to try.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but like he said, my honey's delicious.
I'm sure it is, Rob. I will take your word for that.
Yeah, but Cesaro probably just going to be his only chance at main event, a pay-per-view like this with the world title. But I thought Cesaro was great. They did a good story with working on the arm and stuff like that. What else there really needs to be said about Roman Reigns? He's that good.
Okay, Josh, I want to read the stat to you that they mentioned. Roman Reigns has had 39 opportunities at a world title. Think about that. He's had.
Is that opportunities or overall title matches?
I thought it was 39. Like he's wrestled in 39. I think they said he's wrestled in 39 matches for a world title. Okay. Like think about that. And look, internet, that's not them pushing him down your throat. That's them acknowledging how freaking good the Tribal Chief is. He is head and shoulders above it. Like Roman is here and everybody else is here. Like it's not close how good Roman Reigns is.
Not even for Cesaro, who I love. I think Cesaro is fantastic, but you just had the showcase of why this person's in this position and why this person's in that position.
Yep.
Cesaro can be remembered just like the Mr. Perfects of the world. Great performers who were never the world champion. I love Cesaro. I think he's a tremendous performer, but I mean, he probably has a better shot winning the WWE title than he does win the Universal title right now, if you're being honest. But that didn't stop there. After the match, Jey Uso wanted to get his lickings on Cesaro, and then we saw Mr. Drip Rollins walk down to the ring and give himself some of the action. Yeah, they acknowledged the Chief, pal.
Nice.
We had to acknowledge Trump. But I'll say this, I did like the little stare down with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. If that's a match you want to do at SummerSlam, I'm more than fine with that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. So I just had a couple other things to add. Number one, Cesaro's mouth guard with the fangs was badass. That was cool. Really cool. I like that. I agree with you, Josh. Cesaro made he made every bit of his opportunity to prove why he belongs as a main eventer. Like, Cesaro belongs in main event status. Like, he was fantastic. He worked well. We all know how great he is with his character and all that stuff. I can't say enough good things about Cesaro. I still think Cesaro should go to NXT UK and win the world. I actually would be okay with him winning the world title from Walter.
That'd be
cool. Really think about it. Like, that could be a great match. I mean, and a rub to Cesaro. I could see Cesaro winning the NXT UK world title from Walter, and I would be completely okay with that. I would like to, and you have the post-match beatdown on Cesaro from Seth Rollins, so I don't know if they're setting up to a feud with him or if they're going to try to write Cesaro off TV for a while. I don't know. I do say, though, that at Hell in a Cell, we need to say Jimmy versus Roman Reigns needs to be the match. And I want to give a shout out to Charles at Chuck93 on Twitter, who said this. The match should be Jimmy versus Roman Reigns. And the angle is that Jimmy is going to do what Jay couldn't in Hell in a Cell back in October. And I think that's what we need to do next. And then that can be a way for Jimmy to fall in line to the tribal chief.
Well, what are you trying to say? You're going to say that Jimmy beats Roman for the title?
No. I'm saying Jimmy competes against Roman. Roman beats him down, and that's when Jimmy falls in line, much like Jay did.
I think you brought this up on Sunday. I was like, let's do the finger poke of doom in the cell.
God. Oh boy. Oh.
Hey, but Jimmy versus Jay Hell in the Cell match would be.
I could see that too. I could see that too. No, that'd be great. But no, overall, Josh, I thought this was a tremendous pay-per-view. I really enjoyed it.
Down since that day one ish. Got it down like this.
Yep.
All right, folks. Rob, I'm glad you're here because you came in the right time, pal, because we're about to serve up some main event action. Pal.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Josh, do we want to just real quick, but while I cue up the music, what's your one takeaway from Raw this week?
I love the Sheamus and Ricochet match.
Yes,
that was my takeaway.
Yep, agree with you. I thought that was absolutely. I'm just queuing up the music here. I agree with you. I thought that was absolutely terrific. When Kofi said "a reptile dysfunction," I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was great. And also happy for Kofi Kingston. Looking forward to seeing him against getting a world title match against Bobby Lashley. I think that's going to be great. But now, Josh, it is time for the greatest segment in all of podcasting.
Right up the value, pal.
For what the hell is wrong with AEW? Besides everything. Everything is wrong with AEW, especially this week.
Bum, bum. I forgot to mention this a couple minutes ago, but Monday Night Raw was Kofi Mania Backlash.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Indeed. Indeed. But Josh, what the hell is wrong with AEW? Let's just get into it. We need to just get into this, and we're just going to go. Okay, from the very beginning of the show, why the hell is Jon Moxley all of a sudden just so interested in the tag team titles? How long ago was it that he was trying to get Olivier's world title, and all of a sudden him and Kingston are just obsessed as the number 4 ranked tag team because rankings matter? Now all of a sudden they're obsessed with the Bucks. Like, how is this competent storytelling? Like, how?
I mean, let's start off with this. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of the show where we had.
I forgot. Sorry, I forgot.
We have baby faces fighting baby faces for absolutely
I forgot about this.
So you mean to tell me the biggest signing? Because they touted this before Christian came to AEW, the biggest signing in history, right? You tell me he's gonna be stuck in the Battle Royal? And here's the stupid thing about this, right? So they had the match. It was what it was. I love Christian as a wrestler. I think Matt Seidel's kind of overrated, in my opinion. I'm not entertained a lot by a lot he does, but the match was what it was. But here's my thing. Okay, you're having Brian Cage come out because Christian Cage has this issue with Team Taz, but Hangman Page is fighting Brian Cage at Double or Nothing. Tell me, how the fuck does that make sense?
How does this advance the story?
It doesn't.
The theme of this week, Josh, was why the hell should I care about any feud at Double or Nothing? That was the theme of this. As I was watching the program, I was like, okay, they announced a match for Double or Nothing. Why should I care? Okay, they announced a match for Double or Nothing. Why should I care? Okay, they announced a match for Double or Nothing. Why should there has been no lead up into any of these matches, and I have no reason to care.
No, not one. Not one. I mean, I'll tell you right now, with the card that's announced right now for Double or Nothing, the only match I'm interested in is Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida.
And they didn't even really do a good job pushing that this week.
No. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, yeah, I think Rob just made a good point here. Like, they dropped the ball with Brian Cage, and yeah, big time. Not par for the course, pal. But like, I'm watching the show, and I ask myself this question every week: what is elite about this show? What's elite about this promotion? Like, honestly, tell me one thing that was elite on Dynamite last night besides Red Velvet's legs. Like, honestly, God, that's a beautiful woman. I'll just throw that out there. Like Serena Deeb randomly comes back and now she's a heel and she's aggressive and talking shit just randomly because she's injured.
The only things I liked about Dynamite this week, and just a couple things, I actually thought the Christian Cage Matt Sydal match was fine. I thought it was a good match. I thought the Serena Deeb Red Velvet match was good. I thought Frankie Kazarian's promo was actually bet with Officer Barbrady. I thought that was actually I actually like Kazarian's promo. I thought that was good. And I actually didn't mind Jericho's promo this week either. We'll get into that in just a little bit. I didn't mind Jericho's promo.
Jericho's promo's fine. That was not my issue with that segment.
I know what your issue was, and we'll get into that. But other than that, like you said, what was elite about the show?
Nothing.
No, you're comparing. So they call themselves All Elite Wrestling. Compare that to Reigns and Cesaro, and tell me which one is elite.
Yeah. I mean, let's see if this tickles your fancy. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston against The Acclaimed.
Oh God. Oh my God.
You want to know my favorite part of Dynamite last night was? Moxley punching Anthony Bones before he did The Acclaimed. I thought that was
Josh,
the best part of the show.
The Acclaimed. Okay, here's how bad The Acclaimed is. They are worse than AEW bad. Like, they're not even qualified to be on All Elite Wrestling. That's how bad The Acclaimed is. They're not even qualified to be on Dark. That's how bad The Acclaimed is. Like, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And we said it last week. Max Caster is an embarrassment to music. He disgraces music with his attempt of freestyling.
I mean,
I am a hip hop fan, and I don't listen to today's stuff, but Max Caster just sounds like these SoundCloud rappers using stuff that dirt sheet trolls would say about wrestlers. That's his whole shtick. They suck.
But they're
generic in the ring. I could give two shits what they say during their raps, and they're only there just to pump up Tony Khan because he's the reason he put those two together.
Correct.
That's the only reason why they're on TV. That's the only reason why they're ranked number 2, because they beat jabronis every single week on Dark and Elevation. There's nothing about them.
No.
Nothing.
I will say also though, Josh, another thing you can do is they showed a Moxley Kingston promo, which I actually thought was pretty good before the match. And then they showed the Acclaimed promo, and you're like, well, what? Their Acclaimed just got buried. I mean, like the promo skills of Moxley and Kingston versus the promo skills of the Acclaimed. Like, it's there.
The Acclaim. I don't want to see you on my TV again.
No.
Go the fuck home and stay the fuck home.
Correct.
Right now.
You said it exactly right, Josh. They're just there to pump Tony Khan's ego and to repeat all of the things that the internet trolls want to hear. I hate the Acclaim. They might be the worst. Here's another bold statement, Josh. They're the worst part of Dynamite every week, and I'm talking including the Bucks and including Olivier. Like the Acclaimed is worse than that.
I'm surprised you say that.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
No, and I hate the Bucks. I hate Olivier, but the Acclaimed is worse than that.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get lower than Marco Stunt, but
I don't know, Josh. The Acclaimed is giving Marco Stunt a run for their money. I'm not gonna lie to you.
All right, let's move on. I'm trying to remember what else happened at this shit show.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw Sean Spears beating up a waiter at a restaurant, trying to be right back and bully people, trying to pump up his tough guy persona. It's so silly. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the Pinnacle where like you have MJF and FTR and Wardlow. They fit that group, right? Yes. But when you see Sean Spears there trying to act like a tough guy, you just lose all validity there.
Yep.
I don't buy it one bit.
And you know who's going to be joining them in a couple months, I bet, Josh? His lovely wife, I bet, will be joining as the female member of the Pinnacle. Watch.
I guess it would be a better view to look at them now.
No, that's true. That's very true. If I'm being honest with you, Josh, I didn't even think MJF's promo was good this week.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like it. What he had to, like, it just because it seemed forced and awkward. That's why.
Well, you want to talk about what's forced and awkward is the fact that we're having this match at Double or Nothing. By the way, we rushed into Blood and Guts when you could have done this at the pay-per-view.
Yep.
And now we're rushing into another angle of, is the Inner Circle going to break up this time for the 5th fucking time? Let's say the Inner Circle beats the Pinnacle at Double or Nothing. Are you going to tell me we're going to have another town hall meeting whenever Sammy Guevara starts acting like an egomaniac again? But suddenly we all have to love Sammy Guevara right now, even though he's a piece of shit in real life? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. The only people that should be allowed to speak from the Inner Circle are Jericho, maybe, Santana, and Ortiz. Because I actually think Santana and Ortiz are a better promo than Jericho overall. Hey, by the way, Josh, there is one segment we forgot about, and I don't know if we just... Can we talk about why the hell we should care about Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Darby Allin, and Sting? Like...
So
Sting, Sting comes out, right? And it's Sting. Like they think like he's the second coming of Jesus for some reason, and it's just like I loved Sting. Like Sting is one of the greats of all time. Like he is, but he's a washed up shell of himself, and he's being completely misused. He's being used to pump up the. I'm surprised he isn't being used to job to Olivier, but though that's probably coming. But this, oh God, why, Josh? Why should I care about this?
Yeah, the same. This is the same promotion that has Miro as the TV champion, while he's been a jabroni for the last 9 months. There's no rhyme or reason to what they do. They follow with whatever Seltzer and Alvarez are feeling throughout the week of how they would continue storylines. You know the biggest misnomer about AEW is that I have people tell me all the time, they do a better job of telling storylines and letting things play out than the WWE does. By what? Have people run into the ring after every match is over? That's continuity. Let's use some of these buzzwords that we always see on social media all the time, Brother Carter. We have continuity. We have storyline development. By what? Doing WCW brawls after every match? Really? that storyline continues. Like I mentioned it earlier in the show, Christian Cage and Matt Sydal. They fight each other. They bring in Team Taz, and then they bring Hangman Page. I'm surprised the Dark Order didn't run out. Like, come on. Let's talk about the Inner Circle promo while we're at it. By the way, my thoughts on the whole Sting stuff, it's kind of the same thing like they have at the Revolution match. Now the difference is we're having Steve wrestle live on pay-per-view. This is not going to be a taped match. And I'm sorry, I have no personal interest in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page as a tag team. Again, trying to cut tough guy promos, but you're about to do the job to the emo kid and the old ass man.
Yep.
So how am I supposed to take you seriously? The face of the revolution is about to lose his sting on pay-per-view. That's just awesome, guys. That's awesome. But let's talk about this Inner Circle promo. I think Ortiz is fine in the mic. I can't take anything Sammy Guevara says seriously. And
I know where you're going, Josh. I know where you're going.
Obviously, I mentioned it earlier, but how this has been like a rough week for me. I'm not going to snap because I was kind of laughing about this when I saw this last night because, like, you have to be literally insane to think that you're going to try to say things over and over and over again and expecting different outcomes. AEW, are you trying to convince me that Jake Hager could cut good promos? Are you really trying to do that to me? I put this on Twitter last night. If Jake Hager, you know how I hate the word if, right? Yep. If Jake Hager continues to cut promos on Dynamite, I'm going to start drinking. I'm going to start drinking, and I'm not going to regret it because this is – who cares what he had to say?
Not me.
Oh, God. Look at me, Rob. He says Sting is the second coming of Sting. That's funny. We mentioned the stuff with Britt Baker and Joshie earlier. Don't really need to hit on that. Serena Deeb and Red Velvet, I thought had the best match overall from what I transcribed last night. I think
it's cool that her face is on the NWA Women's title. I actually think that's kind of a nice touch. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, like their title is unique. I don't even know what the AEW Women's title is.
Have you noticed how much smaller it is than the men's title, Josh?
Yeah.
Again,
everything but women.
All except women.
All except women. There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I forgot to mention this. Anthony Ogogo against Austin Gunn. Picture of this match happened on Monday Night Raw.
People would be losing their mind.
Yeah. Mark Marrow beating up Billy Gunn's kid. Riveting. Mm-hmm. This absolutely
and then we have this completely unnecessary anti-American angle. Like, is this really what? So AEW is trying to take real world events and bring them into their product. People want to watch wrestling for an escape. They don't want to deal with real world issues. And why, of all times to be doing an anti-American angle in this part of our culture when the fabric of America is kind of unstable right now? Yeah. Why are we doing an anti-American angle?
Well, here's my thing. I was waiting for Jim Acosta to pop out.
or Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Greg Gutfield. Where's Tyrus at? I know he's doing that stuff now too, right? Yeah, sure. Like Gogo has like swagger and charisma to him, but like I don't need politics in wrestling.
No.
And honestly, I'd rather see Ogogo knock out Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing than have see Cody Rhodes beat Ogogo. What does that benefit anybody to have that match in the first place? They're having a weigh-in next week. Is this a boxing fight for America?
Nice. We're gonna resolve America's disputes with a boxing match on All Elite Wrestling. Boy, that's riveting. Booker of the Year, pal.
Triple H never boxed. I can't have that one over him. God, Cody Rhodes has such a Triple H complex about him. It's insane.
Hey, by the way, Josh, can we talk about how Olivier ran around as the executive vice president trying to get Orange Cassidy to like EVP coming through? Where was the Impact World title that supposedly is going to be a merger or a buildup of these two companies? Like, so Omega struts around like an EVP when he feels like it to try to get Orange Cassidy to sign off his.
I can't suspend my disbelief with Kenny Olivier.
No, he's an overhyped, glorified prick, is what Kenny Omega is.
Oh, he's an over-glorified geek. That's what he is.
I think he's a prick as well, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I could attach that to Don Callis.
He's another person that needs to go home and stay home. Is Don Callis?
You teed this up perfectly for me because it's about to talk about the main event.
Okay.
So when I did the transcript, I caught the Fight TV version of Dynamite where they have the picture where you hear the commentary that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Schiavone, with all due respect, I need you to go the fuck home and stay the fuck home, okay? I heard two things last night that just absolutely blew my mind. The first one was during the Acclaim match with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And they were saying that Tony Schiavone said, man, this is another example of how great our tag division is.
Oh, I heard that. I was like, are you kidding me? I heard that. I was like, kidding me?
The second one, Rob, I'll answer that question in a minute or so. We were talking about that a little earlier, but we'll get to that a little bit. The second one was during the main event with the Young Bucks and Varsity Blondes. And like, he's saying, it's so silly that they go this back and forth with like, they try to be like passive aggressive towards Don Callis on commentary, right? But during picture, he's trying to tell Excalibur that he has to agree with Don Callis because the Young Bucks are awesome. Oh, also, I wanted to mention this. Shout out to referee Tony S because he's going to appreciate what's going to come out of my mouth with this next thing. So they're doing this thing where they're abusing the referees 10 count to be in the ring. Same old AEW tag match. They can't follow the tag rules. And Don Callis points out that the referees are intimidated by the Young Bucks. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, you are in the ring for 3 minutes when you're supposed to be out in 10 seconds after making a tag. These referees are made to look like jabronis. Big time.
And Aubrey Edwards is at the top of that list.
She's something else. But like, thank you, Don Callis, for stating the obvious. They don't care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't.
By the way, Josh, another thing I noticed, and this is a genius, another brilliant way that All Elite Wrestling runs a television program. They announced that there's a 60-minute time limit when there's 17 minutes left in the broadcast. How does anybody expect this match to go 60 minutes when there's 17 minutes left on the show?
Yeah.
Like, call it TV time remaining if you're going to do that.
By the way, Rob, yeah, I get it that the Bucks are their boss, but this is also the same company that says we want a real-life sports presentation. Respect your referees.
Nope.
It's called sports entertainment then. Just say it's a knockoff of WWE if you're not going to follow the fucking rules. How about that?
All right. And
honestly, you had the Young Bucks in this match with Varsity Blondes. It's a match you could have seen on the YouTube show. Yep. Nothing on the show was constituted worthy of being on Dynamite. So I gave my review, I gave my grade last night. It was like 1 out of 5. This did absolutely nothing for me.
It's horrible. And I said this before, and I put this out on Twitter, Josh. The Young Bucks suck. They are overrated in every way. They are very good athletes who can't act, can't tell a story in the ring, and have to be a parody of everything that they want out of the wrestling business. And that is Nick and Matt Jackson in a nutshell. That's what they are.
And those brutal chains that wherever they're wearing their foreheads, I don't know what the hell that is.
You can throw Olivier in there too as a parody of everything. So, anything else from Dynamite this week, Josh?
No, I do want to mention they did announce the new show Rampage that's starting in August. I guess they don't care about wrestling fans because I don't know who needs more flea market wrestling.
When are they airing the show? I think they're airing the show after SmackDown, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing it at 9 o'clock Central, 10 in the East Coast on Friday nights, I think. And here's the odd thing, after SmackDown's over, the only thing wrestling stuff that's going on is New Japan Strong got the New Japan streaming thing, and then 205 Live. Casual wrestling fans are not going out of their way to go watch that show.
Nope.
And then you have this new show. Okay, we got Thunder. Awesome.
That's essentially what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thunder is back. I guess the only cool thing they announced is that they're gonna have quarterly specials on TNT. But like we mentioned earlier, who gives a shit? Who needs more AEW?
Man. Again, it's like, how do they think the wrestling business works? Like, isn't the quarterly event supposed to be your pay-per-views? Are they going to eliminate pay-per-views now and just put all that stuff on free television?
Yeah, I think so.
They didn't understand how the wrestling business works. But Tony Khan is Booker of the Year, pal, and a genius.
Why don't you cue up the song?
It's cued.
On that note, that is what the hell is wrong with AEW.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
What is it wrong?
Sponsored, of course, by the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
And Sean Rossett.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll put a ribbon on the bow on this week's show. Go ahead, Brian Carter.
Can we just say one thing real quick, Josh, before I know we're getting over time, but I just want to get your thoughts really quickly on the passing. Big news story out of the week was the passing of New Jack. And I'll be honest, I never had a chance to see New Jack perform because when I was growing up and ECW was in its heyday, I was still living in Canada at the time, and we didn't get ECW. So I would just read about ECW on the dirt sheets, and that's where I learned about Rob Van Dam and Sandman and Sabu and all those performers. But so I never got to see New Jack perform, but from what I understand, he was 110% all the time, and he was a true embodiment of what ECW represented. So obviously very sad for him and his family. Our best wishes, condolences, and prayers to the Young family during this difficult time. But so I don't know, Josh, what are your thoughts on the passing of New Jack?
I thought it was very unfortunate. Died that young too.
Yeah, I know.
When it looked like New Jack would start to enjoy his life too, and I hate when that happens.
Right,
that happens a lot with a lot of celebrities too, which is unfortunate. But my thoughts are with his family. I love the Dark Side of the Ring episode that they had on him. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Paul Heyman said it perfectly in his tribute to him on Talking Smack that New Jack was the real gangster of all gangsters that was in ECW. Yep. And it sucks that he passed away like that. It's really unfortunate. I felt bad about that too. It's like you just want to see him to enjoy his life and his family at that time. And he'll be missed. The fact that he had a career where he was allowed to have his own theme song playing during his entire matches. It's something that this thing is very unique. You got to tell his story before he passed away in that Dark Side of the Ring, so people will remember his legacy and what he represented in the entire wrestling business. And I remember him saying that Jim Cornette had a big part of his career impact on that. So, yeah, my thoughts are with New Jack. Also, want to send my condolences to the family of Don Coronado. Legendary NWA wrestler in the territory days. Passed away very young as well. So, thoughts with those families as well. So, I haven't really had a chance to catch up with the newest episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. I know they had something about Nick Gage, who's like a death match wrestler or whatever, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. But just want to say thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's been a very good and fun episode of the Hoots podcast this week. Make sure to follow Brian Carter at Twitter at Derek Stoughton. Make sure to check out DerekStoughton.com to check out his music stuff and at WrestlingRumors.net. I'm at Twitter. You can see it on the YouTube feed here at Josh Lopez Media. You can follow me on Instagram at JoshLopez94 at Josh Lopez Music. Make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Remember, folks, you are dictating the pace of your life, no one else. I made it very clear about that earlier on. Thank you for letting me be vulnerable with you guys today. Hope you take something positive away from the conversation that we had earlier. We love you guys. I just want you guys to remember to be the authentic product that is yourself, because that's what you have at the end of the day. You have yourself, you have your family, and you have God. That's what you have. So for Brian Carter, I'm Joshie. Have a wonderful week. And just ask yourself this question. What isn't wrong? On that note, this is episode 258 of the Hoots podcast. We got to sign out. People are calling us. We'll talk to you guys next week. Yes, sir.